Hello, Chris Yates with Huddle Productions. How is everybody doing out there today? We've got Holly O'Brien. Oh my goodness, does she have incredible stories? And we want to talk about her college concept. It's her business. But I first want to talk about you personally and your background. Okay, you have been a musician your whole life. Started piano at 4, studied opera and classical piano in Europe. You've been in the music business for 20 years. And I'm going to get to the last one, but let's first talk about those, and then the third one will shock people. So tell me about that background.
Well, actually, I'll tell you, my mom is still living, and she is also a musician, but both my parents were musicians. And my mom is a vocal coach to rock stars, but she has sung opera. She's done everything. So she kind of pulled us kids along in all this. In the course of that, I got to go to the Royal Academy of Music in London.
Wow.
I got trained very early on in classical piano, was very exposed to opera my entire life. So I've always had a really diverse and very fun career in music.
Okay, now I'm going to the wild part of this story. You actually wrote songs for the Barney TV show. How the heck did you do that? And what was that like?
Super fun. I'll tell you how I did it. I moved here from Los Angeles, whatever year that was, and I kind of left my music business in Los Angeles. So I got here and I was like, what the heck do I do now? And so I just called the Barney show and I introduced myself and I told them my background. And they said, well, send us some examples of your music. And I did. And next thing I know, I get a phone call. We need a song about vegetables by Tuesday. Can you do it?
Wow.
So yeah, I can do it. And I did it. And I wrote for them for quite a few years. Loved it. Super fun.
What's your favorite song that you wrote for Barney TV?
My favorite song?
Or what was it? Yeah, your most favorite and your most famous.
Well, I think the one that I get the most money on still is one called The Counting Song, which is really cute. I probably like it the best too, but I wrote about 25 or 30 songs for them. So,
wow.
my memory is not as good as it once was on the songs, but walking outside,
them, huh?
The sun is shining in a beautiful way. I look down and what do I see? 3 little daffodils smiling at me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 little daffodils smiling at me.
Wow. And you still get checks from Barney TV. Amazing. Okay, so from music and interesting background there. And now you're doing college counseling or college recruiting. How did you get into that? And what are you doing for people, for students?
Right. It's not recruiting. It's called college application coaching.
Coaching, okay.
Yeah. And so the way that I got into it was with my 2 sons, and they're grown now. They're 32 and 29. But when my older son was a sophomore in high school, I asked him, what are we supposed to do for college? And as every good, self-respecting teenage boy would say, he went. And so I thought, well, I really want him, because he was a really good student. I really want him to go to a good school. And so I ordered a book, read it cover to cover, ordered another book, and so eventually, I have an entire bookshelf full of college application books. And I learned everything about it, worked with him from sophomore year forward. And, end of story, in December of 2005, on my mom's birthday, we got a notice from Harvard University that he had been accepted.
Wow.
So then I thought, I wonder if there's a business doing this.
And that was in 05, okay.
And that was 05. And then I worked with my younger son. Then I actually got accepted to a program at Harvard called the Harvard Institute on college admissions. I think it was a long time ago. But I took that training, and then I took another training that is through an organization that trains what I do. worked with my younger son, and he got accepted to MIT, Princeton, Yale, Duke.
Wow.
And
so you knew you were on the summit at this point.
Yeah, and so my younger son ended up going to Princeton. So my sons are Harvard and Princeton graduates, which
wow,
kind of speaks for itself. But I loved it because it uses the same creativity as songwriting.
Okay, so that's how you tie into it. That's your background, the creativity part. And how can you differentiate? Like, there's a lot of companies out there like this. How do you differentiate yourself?
Well, for one thing, I don't. A lot of the bigger companies, you may be able to talk to the main person, but then the actual work gets farmed out. It gets farmed out to a grad student or to someone with less experience. And for me, it's just little old me. Every student that I work with gets me.
Okay.
That's the only.
Okay.
So that's one thing, because I am super focused on making sure that every student gets the full benefit of working with me. And indeed, this year I usually work with about 30 students at any one time.
Okay.
And so this year, students got accepted to somewhere between 100 and 150 colleges.
Wow.
And the most amazing part was offered nearly $3 million in scholarship money.
That is fantastic.
So, I mean, I think I have a very good track record. I know what I'm doing, obviously, after 14 years of doing it. But also, the other thing that I would say I have that's a little bit different is I'm fun.
You're not. Your profile says you're not a dud.
I'm not a dud. No, I'm not.
I like that. That's a good slogan.
I'm not a dud.
You're fun and not a dud. That's what you said.
Yeah, and I really enjoy teenagers.
Okay.
I really working with teenagers. And
what's the secret though? How are you getting them in these schools?
Well,
what do you do? Like, what's your process?
It's a huge amount of experience. For one thing, knowing is going to help the students stand out among thousands and thousands of other students. I mean, as an example, just to use Harvard gets 45,000 applicants every year.
Okay.
And accept about 1,650.
Wow.
So you've got to find a way, and the same thing with any of the more selective schools. You have a huge number of applicants and a very small number of acceptances. So you really have to find a way within the parameters of the application process to really make them stand out. And typically for me, it's, well, first of all, I really strategize how we present, but the essay really becomes important because they're competing with other students who have their same test scores and their same GPA. So then the weeding out process after that becomes an amazing essay.
So basically, these students are almost like a brand. It's almost like marketing in a way.
Oh, did I lose you? There you are.
Yeah, there you go.
I think
that's technology. But my question was, it seems like these students, in a way, are a brand, and this is like marketing their brand.
Oh, well, definitely. Okay. It definitely is. And in order to do that, you've got to be catchy, just like when you write a song. You got to be catchy, and you have to make it. I mean, what I always tell my students is the people that are reviewing your applications are human beings.
Yeah.
They're not some kind of machine that is reading this essay. So an essay needs to be engaging. It needs to draw on the senses. It needs to pull the emotions in some way. Okay. So that's really the focus. And boy, the minute a lot of times I'll have a student come in and they say, oh, I've already written an essay with my English teacher. And I always go, no, because they are typical.
Yeah.
English class.
You got to be different.
Yeah, they're boring. I get bored easily, very quickly. I have very little patience. Well, the minute I start reading a boring essay, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know.
you're right. You got to entertain them and be unique. Well, this was interesting stuff. Congratulations on all your success. Love your story. Holly O'Brien, the college concept. I appreciate your time. Good stuff. And like she said, she's fun and not a dud. So
not a dud. Never a dud. Never.
Yeah. Let her help your kids out. Thank you.